Dr. Morrison's expression changed. Her whole body went rigid. She stared at the screen like she'd seen a ghost, her hand frozen in place. "Is something wrong with the baby?" I asked, panic rising in my throat. She didn't answer. She just kept staring. Then she turned off the ultrasound machine, set down the wand, and looked at me with an expression I'll never forget. Fear, anger, and something else. Recognition. "Emma," she said quietly, "I need you to get dressed, right now." "What? Why? What's wrong?" She pulled me into a sitting position, her hands gripping my shoulders. "Emma, listen to me very carefully. You need to leave your husband. You need to file for divorce immediately." I stared at her like she'd lost her mind. "What are you talking about? What does this have to do with—" "There's no time to explain everything right now," she interrupted. "But I need to show you something you need to see before you go home to him." My hands were shaking as I pulled my shirt back down. "Dr. Morrison, you're scaring me. Is the baby okay?" "The baby is perfectly healthy," she said. And then she added, "But you're not safe. And once you see what I'm about to show you, you'll understand why." She pulled out her phone, her fingers moving quickly across the screen. Then she handed it to me. What I saw on that screen made my blood run cold, made my stomach drop, made everything I thought I knew about my husband, my marriage, my entire life disintegrate like ash. My name is Emma Sullivan, and this is the story of how a routine ultrasound exposed a secret so dark, so twisted, that it changed everything. Let me take you back to the beginning, because you need to understand what my life looked like before that ultrasound. You need to see what I thought I had. Daniel and I met 4 years ago in Portland, Maine. I was 28, working as an elementary school teacher at a private school. He was 32, a financial advisor at a prestigious investment firm downtown. We met at a friend's wedding. Such a cliche, right? But it felt magical at the time. He was handsome in that clean-cut, all-American way. Sandy brown hair, blue eyes, the kind of smile that made you feel like you were the only person in the room. He was charming, successful, and he pursued me with the kind of intensity that made me feel special. Our first date was at this beautiful waterfront restaurant. He brought me flowers, peonies, which I'd mentioned in passing were my favorites. He asked questions about my life, my work, my dreams. He listened like he actually cared. After years of dating guys who were more interested in talking about themselves, Daniel felt like a breath of fresh air. We dated for a year before he proposed. He did it on a weekend trip to Acadia National Park at the top of Cadillac Mountain at sunrise. It was romantic and thoughtful and everything I'd ever dreamed of. We got married the following spring in a small ceremony on the coast. It was intimate, beautiful, perfect. I wore my grandmother's lace veil. Daniel cried when I walked down the aisle. Our vows talked about partnership and forever and building a life together. I believed every word. The first 2 years of marriage were good. Really good, actually. We bought a cute colonial house in a nice neighborhood, white picket fence and everything. I had my teaching job, which I loved. Daniel was climbing the corporate ladder, bringing in good money. We traveled on school breaks, Vermont in the fall, Florida in winter, California in summer. We hosted dinner parties. We had game nights with friends. We were that couple that everyone said was so perfect together. But looking back now, I can see the signs I missed, the little cracks that I explained away. Daniel was controlling, but I told myself he was just organized. He wanted to know where I was all the time, but I figured he was just good with money. He was a financial advisor, after all. He didn't like it when I spent time with my friends without him. He'd get moody if I made plans that didn't include him. He'd ask questions about who I talked to, what we discussed, why I'd been gone so long. "I just miss you when you're not here," he'd say, pulling me close. "Is that so wrong?" And I'd melt, because who doesn't want to be missed? Who doesn't want their husband to care that much? I didn't see it for what it was, control masquerading as love. He was also particular about my appearance. He'd comment if I gained a few pounds. He'd suggest I wear certain outfits instead of others. He bought me clothes he wanted me to wear, always a size too small, always a little more revealing than I was comfortable with. "You're so beautiful," he'd say. "Why hide it?" I started dressing the way he wanted, wearing my hair the way he liked, losing weight to keep him happy. I told myself I was being a good wife, compromising, keeping the romance alive. I didn't realize I was disappearing. About a year ago, we started talking about having a baby. Or rather, Daniel started talking about it. He wanted kids, he said. He wanted to be a father. He wanted to start our family.
I was excited, but also nervous. I loved teaching other people's kids, but having my own felt like a huge step, and things between Daniel and I had been strained lately. He was working longer hours, coming home late, distant. We weren't connecting the way we used to. But I thought a baby might bring us closer, might heal whatever had broken between us. So we tried, and 3 months ago, I got pregnant. I took the test on a Sunday morning while Daniel was in the gym. 2 pink lines appeared immediately. I sat on the bathroom floor staring at them, feeling a mix of joy and terror. When Daniel came home, I showed him. He picked me up and spun me around, laughing. "We're going to be parents," he said. "This is perfect. This is exactly what we needed." For a few weeks, things were better. Daniel was attentive again. He'd rub my feet when I was nauseous. He'd bring me crackers in bed. He'd talk about baby names and nursery colors and our future. But then he started getting weird about the pregnancy. He didn't want to tell anyone yet, not until after the first trimester, he said, which was normal, but he also didn't want me going to doctor's appointments alone. He came to my first OB visit, asking the doctor a million questions, taking notes like he was studying for an exam. He started tracking everything, my symptoms, my weight, my diet. He'd Google every little thing and tell me what I should or shouldn't be doing. "I'm just trying to take care of you," he'd say when I told him he was being too intense. "This is our baby. I want everything to be perfect." I thought he was just an anxious first-time dad, overprotective but well-meaning. Then he canceled on my 14-week ultrasound appointment.
The morning of the ultrasound, I woke up excited. This was the appointment where we'd really see the baby, not just a blob, but an actual little human with arms and legs and a face. Daniel had promised he'd be there. We were getting ready when his phone rang. I was in the bathroom brushing my teeth, but I could hear his side of the conversation. "What? Now? I can't. No, I understand it's important, but fine, I'll be there in 30 minutes. He appeared in the bathroom doorway, already pulling on his suit jacket. "Emma, I'm so sorry. There's an emergency at work, a major client issue. I have to go in." "But the ultrasound." I know, I'm sorry. Can you reschedule?" "Daniel, I've been waiting for this appointment for weeks. It's already scheduled." He sighed, looking frustrated. "Then go without me. I'll make the next one, I promise. This client is threatening to pull millions out of the firm. I don't have a choice." He kissed my forehead and was gone before I could argue. I sat there feeling disappointed, but trying not to be unreasonable. He had an important job. These things happened. We'd have plenty of other appointments. Still, I felt a little hollow as I drove myself to Boston Women's Hospital that afternoon. Dr. Sarah Morrison was my OBGYN. I'd chosen her because she came highly recommended and because she had this warm, maternal energy that made me feel safe. She was in her late 40s with kind eyes and a no-nonsense attitude I appreciated. "Husband couldn't make it?" she asked when I came in alone. "Work emergency," I said, trying not to show disappointment in my voice. She said, in a tone that suggested she'd heard that excuse before. "Well, let's go see this baby of yours." I lay back on the table, pulled up my shirt, and tried to relax as she squirted the cold gel on my belly. The ultrasound machine hummed to life, and Dr. Morrison pressed the wand against my skin. For a few minutes, everything was normal. She was quiet, focused, moving the wand around to get different angles. I watched the screen, trying to make sense of what I was seeing. "There's the heartbeat," she said, and I heard it, that fast, fluttering whoosh, whoosh, whoosh that meant my baby was alive and growing. Tears sprang to my eyes. "That's amazing," I whispered. "It really is," Dr. Morrison agreed. She was measuring things, clicking buttons on her keyboard, taking screenshots. "Everything looks good so far. Baby is measuring right on track for 14 weeks. I relaxed. Everything was fine. The baby was fine. Then she moved the wand to a different position, and her entire demeanor changed. She froze. Her hand stopped moving, her eyes locked onto something on the screen. "What?" I asked, trying to see what she was seeing. "What is it?" She didn't answer. She just stared at the screen with this expression of disbelief, then horror, then something that looked like rage. "Dr. Morrison, you're scaring me. What's wrong?" She turned off the machine abruptly, set down the wand, wiped the gel off my stomach with quick, almost rough movements. "Get dressed," she said. Her voice was tight. "Right now." "What? Why? Is something wrong with the baby?" "The baby is fine. Perfect. But we need to talk. Privately." My hands were shaking as I pulled down my shirt and sat up. "I don't understand what's happening." Dr. Morrison walked to the door, checked the hallway, then closed and locked it. When she turned back to me, her expression was intense in a way that made my heart race. "Emma," she said slowly, "how much do you know about your husband's past?" The question caught me completely off guard.
What? What does Daniel have to do with? Answer the question. What do you know about his past relationships, past marriages? He's never been married before, I said automatically. He dated someone seriously in his 20s, but it didn't work out. Why? Dr. Morrison pulled up her phone. I need to show you something, and I need you to stay calm when you see it, okay? You're really freaking me out here. I know, I'm sorry, but this is important. Life or death important. She pulled up a photo on her phone and handed it to me. It showed a woman, young, pretty, brunette. She was smiling at the camera, looking happy and carefree. The photo looked like it had been taken at a beach. Who is this? I asked. Her name was Michelle Rodriguez, Dr. Morrison said. She was my patient 5 years ago. Was, past tense. I don't understand. What does this have to do with... She was pregnant when she died, Emma. 16 weeks pregnant. My blood turned to ice. What? Dr. Morrison took the phone back and pulled up another photo. This one showed the same woman, but clearly pregnant, standing next to a man. The man was Daniel. I stared at the photo, at my husband's face smiling next to this pregnant woman I'd never heard of. That's Daniel, I whispered. Yes, but he said he'd never been married. He said... They weren't married, Dr. Morrison interrupted. They were engaged. Michelle was 16 weeks pregnant with his baby when she died. The room was spinning. How did she die? Dr. Morrison's expression was grim. That's the question, isn't it? Officially, it was ruled an accident. She fell down the stairs in their home, broke her neck, died instantly. The baby died with her. Oh my God! But Emma, I was Michelle's doctor. I saw her every month for prenatal care, and I saw things that worried me.
Dr. Morrison sat down in a rolling chair, and for the first time since I'd known her, she looked old, tired, haunted. Michelle came to me about 5.5 years ago, she began. She'd just found out she was pregnant. She was excited but nervous. It was unplanned. She'd been with her boyfriend for about a year, and they'd just gotten engaged. Daniel, I said numbly. Daniel, she confirmed. I didn't make the connection at first. Sullivan is a common name, and honestly, I'd blocked a lot of it out. What happened to Michelle, it haunted me for years. What happened? Dr. Morrison pulled up more photos on her phone, medical photos this time. These are from Michelle's appointments. Do you see these bruises? I looked. There were photos of Michelle's arms, her legs, her back, bruises in various stages of healing. Purple, yellow, green. She said she was clumsy. She kept bumping into things. Pregnancy brain, she called it. But the bruises got worse as the pregnancy progressed, and they were in strange places, places you don't normally hit when you're clumsy. The backs of her arms, her ribs, her thighs. I felt sick. I asked her directly if someone was hurting her. She denied it, said her fiancé was wonderful, supportive, excited about the baby. But I didn't believe her. I documented everything just in case. You think Daniel was abusing her? I know he was, Dr. Morrison said flatly. I reported my suspicions to the police after she died. They investigated, but there was no hard evidence. Michelle never filed a police report, never told anyone she was being abused. And Daniel was very convincing, successful, well-spoken, devastated by his fiancé's death. The police believed him. She pulled up another photo. This one showed Michelle at what must have been one of her last appointments. She looked tired, scared. There was a bruise on her cheekbone that makeup didn't quite cover. 2 weeks before she died, Michelle called me. It was late at night, around 11. She was crying, hysterical. She said she needed to talk to someone and she didn't know who else to call. What did she say? She said she was afraid that her fiancé had been getting more controlling, more violent, that he'd hit her in the stomach that night, punched her in the stomach. She was terrified something had happened to the baby. I gasped. He hit her in the stomach while she was pregnant? Dr. Morrison nodded, her jaw tight. I told her to go to the emergency room immediately to get the baby checked, to file a police report. She said she couldn't, that he'd be furious, that it would make things worse. She just wanted to know if the baby would be okay. Was it? I don't know. She wouldn't go to the ER. I begged her to leave him, to go somewhere safe. She said she would. She said she'd pack a bag the next day while he was at work and go stay with her sister in New Hampshire. Dr. Morrison's voice cracked. She never made it. 2 weeks later, she was dead. Fell down the stairs in their home, Daniel said. He called 911, hysterical. By the time paramedics arrived, Michelle and the baby were gone. I was crying now, tears streaming down my face. You think he pushed her? I know he pushed her, Dr. Morrison said fiercely. I know it in my bones, but I couldn't prove it. The police investigated, but there was no evidence of foul play. No witnesses, just Daniel's story about how she'd tripped at the top of the stairs. She leaned forward, gripping my hands. Emma, when you gave me your intake paperwork for this pregnancy, I didn't make the connection at first. Sullivan is a common name, and honestly, I'd blocked a lot of it out. What happened to Michelle, it haunted me for years. But then
But then I met your husband at your first appointment. The moment he walked in, I recognized him. I've never forgotten his face. I see it in nightmares sometimes. I thought back to that first appointment, Daniel asking a million questions, taking notes, being so concerned about every detail. He didn't recognize you? I asked. I don't think so. He only met me once, briefly, after Michelle died. He came to pick up her medical records. I was one of many people he dealt with during that time, and I've changed my hair, lost weight. 5 years is a long time, but you recognized him immediately. And I've been watching you ever since, Emma, looking for signs, checking for bruises at every appointment, making notes, because if I was right, if Daniel Sullivan killed Michelle and her unborn child, then you and your baby might be in danger too. My mind was reeling. But Daniel's never hit me. He's never even raised his voice to me. He's not violent. Michelle probably thought the same thing in the beginning, Dr. Morrison said gently. Abusers don't start with violence. They start with control, small things that seem like love. Then the control increases, then isolation, then emotional abuse. The physical abuse usually comes later, often during pregnancy when the victim is most vulnerable. I thought about Daniel's behavior over the past few years, the tracking, the monitoring, the control over my appearance, the way he'd isolated me from my friends. Oh my God, I whispered. Emma, I need you to think very carefully. Has Daniel ever hurt you, even once? I opened my mouth to say no, then stopped. There was an incident 3 months ago, right around the time I got pregnant. We'd had a fight about something stupid. I'd wanted to go to my friend Sarah's bachelorette party in Boston for the weekend, and Daniel didn't want me to go. The argument escalated. He'd grabbed my arm hard, pulling me back when I tried to walk away. I'd have bruises the next day, 4 finger marks on my upper arm. He'd apologized immediately, said he didn't know his own strength, said he was just trying to keep me from leaving in the middle of an argument, said he loved me and couldn't stand the thought of me being angry with him. I'd believed him, written it off as a one-time thing, hidden the bruises under long sleeves. Once, I admitted quietly, he grabbed my arm during a fight, left bruises. Dr. Morrison's expression darkened. When? About 3 months ago, right before I got pregnant. Has he gotten more controlling since the pregnancy? I thought about it. The tracking, the monitoring, the sudden interest in every detail of my prenatal care, the way he'd insisted on coming to my first appointment, the way he'd asked so many questions. Yes, I said. He's been intense about the pregnancy. Dr. Morrison nodded like this confirmed something. Emma, I need you to tell you something else, something I discovered after Michelle died. She pulled up another photo, this time a newspaper article from 7 years ago. The headline read, "Local woman dies in tragic fall." The photo showed another young woman, a redhead this time, smiling and pretty. Her name was Ashley Bennett, Dr. Morrison said. She died 6 months after Michelle, also ruled an accidental fall down the stairs, also pregnant, also engaged to a man named Daniel Sullivan. Oh my God, what? After Michelle died, I couldn't let it go. I started digging into Daniel's past. That's when I found Ashley. She'd been his girlfriend before Michelle. Got pregnant, they got engaged. She died in a fall at 7 months pregnant. Oh my God, oh my God. Different state, that one happened in New Hampshire, where he lived before moving to Maine. Different police department, no connection was ever made between the 2 deaths. I was going to sick. How many? That I found? 2. But Emma, I'm a doctor, not a detective. There could be more, probably are more. She showed me another article, and another, different women, different states, different years, but the same story. Pregnant, engaged to, or dating Daniel Sullivan, dead in an accidental fall at 7 months pregnant. He kills them. She gets them pregnant and then he kills them. That's what I believe, yes, and I couldn't prove it. I went to the police with everything I found. They looked into it, but without hard evidence, there was nothing they could do. Daniel was never in the same state when the deaths occurred. He always had alibis, and falls really do happen. Pregnant women are more prone to accidents. But you don't think they were accidents. No, I don't think Daniel Sullivan has a pattern. He romances women, gets them pregnant, isolates and controls them, and then he kills them before they can give birth. I don't know why. I don't understand his motive, but the pattern is there. I was shaking so hard I could barely stay sitting upright. What do I do? Dr. Morrison gripped my hands tighter. You leave. Tonight. You don't go home. You don't tell him where you're going. You file for divorce immediately. You get a restraining order. You disappear if you have to. He'll find me. He tracks my phone, my car. Then you leave the phone. Leave everything he can track. Emma, I'm serious. Your life is in danger. Your baby's life is in danger. I need proof. You need to survive, Dr. Morrison said fiercely. Proof can come later. Right now, you need to get somewhere safe.
I sat in that ultrasound room for another 20 minutes while Dr. Morrison laid out everything she knew. Every detail about Michelle and Ashley and the other possible victims. Every piece of evidence she'd collected over the years. "Why didn't you warn me sooner?" I finally asked. "You've known who Daniel was since my first appointment. That was 3 months ago." Dr. Morrison looked pained. I was torn. If I was wrong, if I was letting my guilt about Michelle cloud my judgment, I could destroy your marriage for no reason. I could be sued for harassment. I could lose my medical license. But if you were right, if I was right, you were in danger. I know. I've been agonizing over it for months. I documented everything at every appointment, looking for signs of abuse. I called in favors with police contacts, trying to find more evidence about Daniel. I even hired a private investigator to dig into his past. And everything I found confirmed my suspicions, but nothing was concrete enough to take to the police. Daniel is careful. He's smart. He knows how to avoid leaving evidence. So what changed? Why tell me now? Dr. Morrison hesitated. "Because of what I saw on the ultrasound today." "What did you see? The baby's fine, you said." "The baby is fine, but I saw something else. A small hematoma, a collection of blood, on your uterine wall. It's very small, probably nothing to worry about, but it's the kind of thing that can be caused by blunt force trauma." My hand went instinctively to my stomach. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying someone hit you, recently, hard enough to cause bleeding inside your uterus." "No," I said automatically. "Daniel hasn't." But then I remembered. 2 weeks ago, another fight, this one about money. I'd made a purchase Daniel thought was frivolous, some baby clothes I'd seen on sale. He'd gotten angry, said I was being irresponsible. I'd turned to walk away and he'd shoved me, hard. I'd stumbled, caught myself on the kitchen counter. The impact had knocked the wind out of me. I'd had pain in my lower abdomen for a few hours afterward, but it had faded and I'd convinced myself it was nothing. "He pushed me," I admitted, "into the kitchen counter 2 weeks ago." Dr. Morrison closed her eyes. "Emma, this is escalating. This is exactly how it started with Michelle. First the control, then the grabbing, then the pushing. It's going to get worse, especially as the pregnancy progresses. But why? Why would he... I don't know. I've thought about this for 5 years and I don't understand his motivation. Maybe he has some psychological break when women get pregnant. Maybe he likes the idea of pregnancy but not the reality. Maybe he gets off on the control and then panics when the baby actually arrives. I don't know, but the why doesn't matter right now. What matters is that you're in danger." She pulled out a business card and pressed it into my hand. "This is Detective Lisa Chen with the Portland PD. She investigated Michelle's death. She believes me about Daniel, but she needs more evidence to build a case. Call her, tell her everything, file a report about the domestic violence." "Daniel will deny it all. It'll be my word against his." "Which is why we need to be smart about this." Dr. Morrison pulled out her phone again. "I'm going to send you all the files I have. Photos of Michelle's bruises, articles about the other women, everything my PI found. I'm also going to write up a medical report documenting your hematoma and noting my belief that it was caused by domestic violence." "That's not enough to arrest him." "No, but it's a start. And Emma, I need you to do something for me. Actually, for yourself. I need you to start documenting everything. If he hits you again, photograph the bruises. If he threatens you, record it on your phone. If he does anything violent or controlling, write it down with dates and times." "You want me to stay with him? To gather evidence?" "No," Dr. Morrison said firmly. "I want you to leave tonight. But I'm also realistic. I know you might not be ready to leave. I know you might need time to process this, to plan, to figure out your next move. So if you do stay, even for a little while, protect yourself. Document everything." I was overwhelmed, my mind racing in 1,000 directions. I need to think. I need to... "Emma, there's one more thing." Dr. Morrison's voice was grave. "Michelle died at 16 weeks pregnant. Ashley died at 7 months. But there was another woman I found, Karen something, I can't remember her last name. She died at 14 weeks. The same stage I'm at now. Yes, I don't know if there's significance to the timing or if it's just coincidence, but I need you to understand that you might not have much time." My phone buzzed. A text from Daniel. "How'd the appointment go? Everything okay with the baby?" I stared at the message, at the casual concern from a man who might be planning to murder me. "What do I tell him?" I asked Dr. Morrison. "Tell him everything's fine. Normal appointment, baby healthy. Don't let him know you suspect anything." I texted back, "All good. Baby looks perfect. Wish you could have been there." His response was immediate. "Me too. I'll make the next one. Promise. Love you." I felt sick reading those words. He says he loves me.
"I'm sure he believes he does," Dr. Morrison said quietly. "That's what makes this so dangerous. In his mind, whatever he's doing is justified. Michelle's sister told me Michelle said Daniel was obsessively in love with her, that he said he couldn't live without her, that he'd rather die than lose her. But then he killed her. Yes." I stood up on shaky legs. "I need to go. I need to think about all this." "Where are you going?" "I don't know. Maybe to my friend Sarah's or my parents? Somewhere I can think." Dr. Morrison grabbed my shoulders. "Emma, listen to me. Do not go home alone. Do not be alone with Daniel until you've decided what to do. Promise me." "I promise." She pulled me into a hug. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry you're going through this. I should have told you sooner. You told me now. That's what matters." I left the hospital in a daze, Dr. Morrison's words echoing in my head. My phone kept buzzing, more texts from Daniel asking about the appointment, saying he couldn't wait to see me, asking what I wanted for dinner. Normal husband texts, sweet husband texts, texts from a man who might be planning my murder. I sat in my car in the parking lot, hands gripping the steering wheel, trying to decide what to do. I could go to the police right now, show them everything Dr. Morrison had shown me, file a report about the domestic violence. But what would they do? The previous deaths had all been investigated and ruled accidental. Daniel had never been charged with anything. I had no proof he'd hurt me beyond one old bruise and one small hematoma that could be explained away. I could leave, pack a bag and disappear to my parents' house in Vermont, file for divorce from there. But Daniel would fight it. He'd make my life hell, and without proof of abuse, he'd probably get joint custody of our baby. I'd be tying myself to him for the next 18 years. Or I could do what Dr. Morrison suggested. Stay for now, document everything, build a case, and when I was ready, when I had enough evidence, I'd leave and make sure Daniel Sullivan never hurt anyone again. It was risky, it was dangerous, but it might be my only chance to protect not just myself, but any future women Daniel might target. I made a decision.
I didn't go home immediately. Instead, I drove to a coffee shop and sat in a corner booth pulling out my laptop. I needed to know who I was really married to. I started with this simple Google search, Daniel Sullivan, Portland, Maine. The first hits were his LinkedIn profile and his firm's website. Successful financial advisor, graduated from Boston College, previously worked in New Hampshire and Massachusetts. Nothing alarming. But then I searched Daniel Sullivan, death fiancé Michelle Rodriguez. And there it was, an obituary from 5 years ago. Michelle Rodriguez, age 27, died unexpectedly at her home, survived by her parents, her sister Elena, and her fiancé, Daniel Sullivan. Services were held at St. Mary's Catholic Church. I found news articles about her death. Woman dies in tragic fall, one headline read. The articles were brief, clinical, no suggestion of foul play, just a tragic accident that took a young woman and her unborn baby. I kept searching. Daniel Sullivan, Ashley Bennett, New Hampshire. More obituaries, more articles. Ashley Bennett, age 29, died in a fall at her home. She was 7 months pregnant at the time. Her fiancé, Daniel Sullivan, was devastated, according to friends. I found Karen Thompson next. She died in Massachusetts 6 years ago, 14 weeks pregnant. Accidental fall down the stairs at her apartment building. 3 women, 3 pregnancies, 3 deaths. All connected to Daniel Sullivan. How had no one made this connection before? I dug deeper and found the answer. Daniel had used different names with different women. With Michelle, he'd been Daniel Sullivan. With Ashley, he'd gone by Danny Sullivan. With Karen, he'd used his middle name, Daniel James Thompson. He told her Thompson was his last name, that he went by his mother's maiden name. He was smart. He knew how to avoid leaving a trail. My phone rang. Daniel. I answered, trying to keep my voice steady. Hey. Hey, babe, where are you? I left work early to surprise you, but you're not home. Panic fluttered in my chest. He was tracking me. Oh, I just stopped for coffee. Wanted a latte after the appointment. How'd it go? Tell me everything. I launched into a description of the ultrasound, careful to sound happy and excited. The baby looks perfect. Everything's measuring right on track. Dr. Morrison said we're in great shape. Did she give you any pictures? Yeah, they're in my purse. I'll show you when I get home. I can't wait. I'm sorry I missed it, Em. I really am. He sounded so sincere, so loving. If I didn't know what I knew, it's okay, I said, forcing warmth into my voice. You'll be at the next one. Definitely. Hey, why don't you come home? I'm making your favorite, chicken parmesan. We can celebrate the baby looking healthy. The thought of going home, of sitting across from him at dinner, of pretending everything was normal made my skin crawl, but I couldn't let him know anything was wrong. That sounds perfect. I'll be home in 20 minutes. Drive safe. Love you. Love you too. I hung up and immediately called my best friend, Sarah. She answered on the second ring. Emma, how was the ultrasound?
Sarah, I need your help. Something's happened, something bad. Can I come over tonight? Can I stay with you? Her voice immediately shifted to concern. Of course, what's going on? Are you okay? Is the baby fine? The baby's fine. I'll explain everything when I see you, but I can't talk now. I have to go home first. Act normal. Can you be ready to pick me up around 9? Emma, you're scaring me. I know, I'm scared too. Just trust me, okay? I'll text you when I'm ready. Okay, I'll be ready. Whatever you need. I hung up and sat there for another minute, gathering my courage. Then I drove home. Daniel was in the kitchen when I walked in, wearing an apron, stirring something on the stove. He looked so normal, so domestic, like a loving husband making dinner for his pregnant wife. There she is. He set down the spoon and came over to hug me. I forced myself not to flinch. Let me see those pictures. I pulled the ultrasound photos from my purse. Daniel studied them like they were precious artifacts, his finger tracing the outline of the baby. That's our kid. That's really our kid. Yeah, it is. He looked at me with tears in his eyes. Emma, I know I've been difficult lately, controlling maybe, but it's only because I love you so much. You and this baby, you're everything to me. I can't lose you. The words sent ice through my veins. I can't lose you. The same thing he reportedly said to Michelle. I'm not going to lose you, I said carefully. Good, because I don't know what I would do without you. I really don't. Was that a threat, or was I reading too much into everything now? We had dinner. I pushed food around my plate, pretending to eat, while Daniel talked about his day at work. He seemed relaxed, happy even. Nothing in his demeanor suggested he was planning anything sinister. Maybe Dr. Morrison was wrong. Maybe this was all a terrible coincidence. Maybe... No, I couldn't let myself think that way. 3 dead women, 3 dead babies, all connected to the man sitting across from me. After dinner, I helped clean up. Daniel came up behind me at the sink, wrapping his arms around my waist, his hands resting on my small baby bump. We should pick out nursery furniture this weekend, he murmured at my neck. Start getting ready. That sounds nice, I managed. His phone rang. He pulled it out, frowned at the screen. I need to take this, work thing. He stepped into his office down the hall. I heard his voice, low and serious, but couldn't make out the words. This was my chance. I quickly pulled out my phone and opened the recording app. Then I moved quietly toward his office door that he'd left slightly ajar. I told you I'd handle it, he said. She doesn't suspect anything. No, the appointment went fine. Everything's on track. I said I'd handle it when the time comes. I have a plan. It has to look natural, like the others. My blood turned to ice. I hit record. I've done this before, 3 times before. I know what I'm doing. The timing has to be perfect. Too early and there's scrutiny. Too late and, well, 16 weeks is the sweet spot. Complications can happen at 16 weeks. Tragic, but not suspicious. I was shaking so hard I almost dropped my phone. He was talking about killing me, planning it. 16 weeks? I was 14 weeks now. 2 more weeks. The fall worked before, it'll work again. I just need to make sure there are no witnesses this time. Michelle's sister complicated things. This time will be clean. Emma doesn't have family nearby. No one will question. I heard enough, more than enough. I stopped the recording and backed away from the door as quietly as possible. I needed to leave. Now. Tonight. Forget waiting. Forget gathering more evidence. I had this recording. It was enough. I went to the bedroom and started pulling clothes out of my dresser as quietly as possible. Just essentials, jeans, shirts, underwear. I shoved them into a gym bag I found in the closet. What are you doing? I spun around. Daniel was standing in the doorway, watching me. Oh, you scared me. I'm just organizing. Thought I'd pack up some clothes that don't fit anymore, for a donation. He moved into the room, his eyes moving from me to the bag to the clothes scattered on the bed. Those all fit you. Well, they won't for long. Better to get ahead of it. He moved closer. Emma, what's really going on? Nothing. I told you. You're lying. His voice was flat, cold. You've been acting strange since you got home. Barely ate dinner, keep looking at your phone, and now you're packing a bag. I'm not... Don't lie to me. His voice rose, and I flinched. He caught the flinch, and his expression darkened. You know something. What did that doctor tell you? Nothing. She didn't tell me anything except that the baby's healthy. He was in front of me now, close enough that I had to tilt my head back to meet his eyes. I don't believe you. Daniel, you're scaring me. Good. Maybe you should be scared. His hand shot out and grabbed my wrist hard. What did she tell you? Nothing. I tried to pull away, but his grip tightened. You're hurting me. Tell me the truth, Emma. My mind raced. I could tell him the truth, but then what? He'd know I knew. He'd know his plan was exposed. Would he move up his timeline? Would he kill me tonight instead of waiting 2 weeks? Or I could keep lying, keep pretending, get to Sarah's house and call the police from there. Dr. Morrison told me. I took a shaky breath. She told me she's concerned about my blood pressure, that I need to be careful about stress. That's all, I swear. His eyes searched my face. Then why are you packing? Think, Emma, think. Because you're stressing me out, I said, letting frustration creep into my voice. You've been so controlling about this pregnancy, so intense. I thought maybe I'd stay at Sarah's tonight, get some space, calm down. The doctor said stress isn't good for the baby. Daniel's grip loosened slightly. I'm not trying to control you. I'm trying to protect you, protect our baby. I know you are, but I just need one night, okay? Just to breathe, to process everything. Please. He let go of my wrist. I resisted the urge to rub where he'd grabbed me. Fine, he said after a long moment. Stay at Sarah's tonight, but Emma, he cupped my face in his hands. I love you. Everything I do is because I love you. You know that, right? I know, I whispered, and you love me too. It wasn't a question, it was a statement, a command. Of course I do. He kissed me. It felt like kissing a corpse. Call me when you get to Sarah's. Let me know you're safe. I will. He walked me to my car, put my bag in the trunk, kissed me goodbye. See you tomorrow? He asked. Yeah, tomorrow. I got in my car, started the engine, backed out of the driveway. Daniel stood on the porch watching me go, silhouetted by the light from inside our house. Our house that had almost become my tomb. I drove 3 blocks before I had to pull over because I was shaking so hard to see the road. I sat there, gripping the steering wheel, trying to breathe. Then I called Sarah. I'm on my way. I'll be there in 10 minutes. And Sarah, call Detective Lisa Chen at Portland PD. Tell her Emma Sullivan needs to talk to Daniel Sullivan about Michelle Rodriguez. She'll know what it means. Emma, what the hell is going on? I'll explain everything when I see you. Just make the call, please.
Detective Lisa Chen was waiting at Sarah's apartment when I arrived. She was a petite Asian woman in her 40s with sharp eyes and a no-nonsense demeanor. Mrs. Sullivan, she said when I walked in, I've been waiting 5 years for this phone call. Sarah had made tea. I sat on her couch, wrapped in a blanket, and told them everything. About the ultrasound, about Dr. Morrison's revelations, about Michelle and Ashley and Karen, about the phone call I'd overheard, about the recording on my phone. Detective Chen listened to the recording 3 times, her expression growing more intense with each play. This is it, she said finally. This is what we needed. This is premeditation, conspiracy. This is enough to arrest him. For what? I asked. He hasn't actually done anything yet. He was just talking. He was planning a murder, your murder. That's conspiracy to commit murder. And with this evidence, combined with what we know about the other victims, we can reopen those cases, build a pattern, get him for all of them. But he was talking to someone on the phone. Who was it? We'll find out. We can get his phone records, trace the call. Mrs. Sullivan, I need you to understand how significant this is. We've suspected Daniel Sullivan for years, but could never make anything stick. He's too careful, too smart. But this recording, this changes everything. What happens now? Now we arrest him, tonight. We'll get a warrant based on this evidence, we'll bring him in for questioning, and we'll make sure he never gets near you or your baby again. Sarah grabbed my hand. You're safe now, Em. You're safe. But I didn't feel safe. I felt numb, hollow. The man I'd married, the man I'd loved, was a serial killer. He'd killed at least 3 women. He'd been planning to kill me. How had I not seen it? How had I been so blind? Mrs. Sullivan, Detective Chen said gently, I need to ask you some questions about your relationship with Daniel, about his behavior, any violence or threats, anything that might help us build our case. For the next 2 hours, I answered questions, told her about the controlling behavior, the isolation, the grabbed wrist, the shove into the counter. I showed her the bruises that were still fading. She photographed everything. Did he ever talk about the other women, Michelle or Ashley or Karen? No, never. He told me he'd never been married, that he'd had 1 serious girlfriend in his 20s, but it didn't work out. That's all. Did he have any belongings from previous relationships? Photos, jewelry, anything?
Not that I saw, but he has a storage unit. He said it was full of old work files, things from his previous apartments. He never let me go there with him. Detective Chen's eyes lit up. Do you know where this storage unit is? Somewhere in Portland. I don't know the exact location, but I might be able to find it in his emails or documents. We'll need a warrant for that too, but yes, if you can help us locate it, that would be helpful. At midnight, Detective Chen's phone rang. She stepped into Sarah's kitchen to take the call. When she came back, her expression was grim. We have a problem. We went to your house to arrest Daniel. He's gone. My heart stopped. Gone? His car is there, but he's not. Neighbors said they saw him leave on foot about an hour ago. We've got units looking for him, but so far, nothing. He knows, I whispered. He knows I left and I'm not coming back. He knows I figured it out. We'll find him, Detective Chen said firmly. We've got his photo out to every officer in the city. He can't get far without his car. But I knew better. Daniel was smart. He'd planned 3 murders and gotten away with all of them. If he knew I'd exposed him, if he knew the police were coming, he'd run. Or he'd come after me to silence me before he ran. I want protection for me and Sarah. If he comes here, we'll have an officer stationed outside. You're safe here, I promise. Sarah made up her guest room for me. Detective Chen left, promising to call with updates. A police officer took position in a cruiser outside Sarah's building. I tried to sleep, but couldn't. Every sound made me jump. Every car that passed outside made me think Daniel had found me. At 3 a.m, my phone rang. Unknown number. I shouldn't have answered, but I did. Emma. Daniel's voice, calm, almost cheerful. I know you're at Sarah's. I know you went to the police. I know you have a recording of my phone call. Daniel, it's okay. I'm not angry. I'm actually impressed. You're smarter than the others were. Michelle never figured it out. Neither did Ashley. But you, Emma, you're special. I always knew that. Where are you? Somewhere safe. I'm not stupid enough to come after you with police protection. I'm not stupid enough to get caught. Then why are you calling? To say goodbye, and to tell you something important. His voice dropped lower. You think you've won. You think you've escaped. But Emma, darling, you're tied to me forever now. You're carrying my baby, my child, and no matter what happens to me, part of me will always be with you. I felt sick. The police will find you, I said. You'll go to prison for what you did to Michelle and Ashley and Karen. You'll pay for what you tried to do to me. He laughed. Actually laughed. Maybe, maybe not. I've gotten away with it for this long. And even if they do catch me, even if I go to prison, you'll spend the rest of your life looking over your shoulder, wondering if I'll get out, wondering if I'll come for you and our child. You'll never really be free of me. You're wrong. Am I? Every time you look at your baby, you'll see my face. Every time your child smiles or laughs or shows any personality trait, you'll wonder if it came from me, if they inherited something dark from their father. You'll never escape me, Emma. Never. I'm hanging up now. Wait, one more thing. His voice turned cold. I really did love you, in my own way, but you couldn't just trust me. You had to go digging. You had to ruin everything. Whatever happens now, it's your fault. The line went dead. I sat there shaking, Sarah's arms around me, while the police officer outside radioed in the call. They'd try to trace it, but I knew they wouldn't find him. Daniel was gone, and even though I was safe for now, even though the police would eventually find him, even though I'd escaped his plan to kill me, he was right about one thing. I'd never really be free of him.
That was 6 months ago. I'm sitting in my new apartment in Vermont now, 9 months pregnant, writing this all down because my therapist says it helps to process trauma, to tell the story, to reclaim the narrative. Daniel was arrested 3 weeks after that phone call. They found him in North Carolina trying to board a flight to Mexico with a fake passport. He's currently in jail awaiting trial for 3 counts of murder, 3 counts of conspiracy to commit murder, and about a dozen other charges. Detective Chen says the case is solid. They found evidence in his storage unit, journals detailing his plans, trophies from each victim, research on how to cause fatal falls. He documented everything like some kind of sick science experiment. His trial starts next month. I'll have to testify, face him across a courtroom, and tell my story. The prosecutor says they'll push for life in prison without parole. I hope they get it. Dr. Morrison visits me sometimes. She still feels guilty about not warning me sooner, even though I've told her 100 times that she saved my life. If she hadn't recognized Daniel, if she hadn't pulled me aside that day, I don't like to think about what would have happened. Sarah moved to Vermont to be near me. My parents live 20 minutes away. I'm surrounded by people who love me, who support me, who make me feel safe. But Daniel was right about one thing. I do look over my shoulder. I do check the locks twice before bed. I do panic when I see a man who looks like him in the grocery store. And I do wonder about this baby, this little girl I'm about to bring into the world. I wonder if she'll have his smile, his eyes, his intelligence. I wonder if I'll see him in her face and feel sick, or if I'll be able to separate her from him, to love her completely despite where half her DNA came from. My therapist says I will, says children are not responsible for their parents' sins, says my daughter will be her own person, shaped by how I raise her, not by the monster who fathered her. I hope she's right. I've decided to name her Michelle, after Daniel's first victim, the woman who couldn't escape, who couldn't save herself. I'll tell my daughter about her when she's old enough, tell her that her name honors someone who deserved better, someone who deserved to live. And I'll teach her to be strong, to trust her instincts, to never ignore red flags, to never let anyone control her or make her feel small. I'll teach her that sometimes the monsters are the people we love, the ones who seem perfect and charming and too good to be true. I'll teach her that it's okay to run, it's okay to save yourself, it's okay to burn down the life you built if it means surviving. Because I did survive. Against all odds, against Daniel's careful plans, against the pattern that killed 3 women before me, I survived. And yes, I'm still healing, still scared sometimes, still having nightmares where I'm falling downstairs and Daniel is at the top smiling. But I'm alive, my baby is alive, and Daniel Sullivan is behind bars where he belongs. That ultrasound appointment 6 months ago, the one where Dr. Morrison pulled me aside and showed me the truth, saved my life. It gave me a chance to escape, to fight back, to survive. So, if you're reading this and something feels wrong in your relationship, trust that feeling. If someone is controlling you, isolating you, hurting you, leave. If you see red flags, don't ignore them. Your instincts are trying to save your life. Listen to them. And if you're a doctor, a friend, a family member, if you suspect someone is in danger, say something, do something. You might be the only person standing between them and tragedy. Dr. Morrison saved my life by speaking up, by risking her career and her reputation to warn me about Daniel, by choosing my safety over her fear of being wrong. She's my daughter's godmother now. She'll be there when Michelle is born next week. She'll be part of our family forever. Because sometimes the people who save you become more important than the people who share your blood. Sometimes family is who you choose. Sometimes surviving is enough. And sometimes a routine ultrasound turns into the most important appointment of your life. My name is Emma Sullivan, soon to be Emma Chen again, my maiden name. I'm 29 years old, I'm about to become a mother, and I'm a survivor. That's my story. That's what happened when my doctor pulled me aside and told me to leave my husband. She was right. She saved 2 lives that day, mine and my daughter's. And I'll spend the rest of my life making sure that wasn't in vain.